Hello, everyone. I think we're live. Looks like audio is working. I'll wait to hear just in case. When SGW, oh, I forget who it was because I don't remember names. Was it you who was missing the painting? I just remember El Paso. Why can't I remember El Paso? Like, I can remember states or cities. That's not a state. I can remember dogs' names. I can't remember people names. The painting that was missing. Okay, I emailed you. Check your spam if you didn't get it because I told you, I explained there, but I'll explain really quick here. The painting went to your Florida address, whatever is on your PayPal. But I also take part of the blame that I didn't catch that the address you put on my website and the address that you paid with were not the same. I went with the one on the account, the PayPal account, like the official address. So let me know if that's an address you have access to that you're able to get. Do you know who lives there? You may not know there's a El Paso address attached to your PayPal account, or not El Paso, a Florida account attached to your PayPal. So that's definitely something to figure out what's happening there. But if you can respond to me, let me know. We'll sort it through. I'm going to make sure you get a painting. I'm probably going to have to repaint it, but we will make sure you get your painting. But you know, if it's floating around in Florida and we can figure out where, I would love to find the missing one. Okay, so, and I sent that email to you that night. So it's been, gosh, 2 weeks ago. I sent it, I think that night. Anyway. Moving on. So tonight we are going to be working in acrylics. I am going to be painting in Oriole. This reference photo, you can head over to Patreon and download it there. Along with the reference photo, you will get the, wait, where's my, but I can kind of point at it on screen. You can get the line drawing to download that along with the reference photo and the color swatches if that helps make everything easier for you. So we will, okay. It's not any longer. Let me, see if you can find the painting. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Go ahead and download these. They're free. You do not have to be a member at Patreon to download them. And then you can follow along with me. And when SGWW, see if you can find where it is. If not, we're going to get you taken care of one way or another. I do not want you disappointed. If I have to repaint it, I have to repaint it. So I'll turn it into a Patreon lesson. But anyway, let's go ahead and get onto this one. Now normally, and if you look at my supply list, and all the supplies I'm using are listed in the video description, I normally go with a Fredrix watercolor canvas board, which has this label, but I ran out. I happen to have a lot of the Pro Series Dixie 12 ounce Fredrix canvases. These are boards. This has a lot more tooth than what I normally would want to paint with because when you want really smooth blending, when you want really fine details, we want a smooth canvas. But there was a solution to that. I put 3 coats of gesso on this, let it dry, and then sanded it down. And so now it's smooth enough that I can get that fine detail. I can get the smooth blending. I am good to go. The one thing I will say with this canvas, it definitely weighs more. Like it's got more substance than the watercolor canvas boards are a lot lighter weight. So that's kind of a cool thing. So, anyway, that is what I'm going with here, and we're going to start with the background. Do we have any? Oh, if you want to bid on this painting, the starting bid is $75, only for those within the U.S. Check the link in the video description or go to lawcree.com. Also, if you guys are interested at the very end of the, wait, let me get that. Oh, that's what that is. At the very end of the video, let me know if you want me to do a quick demonstration on a very budget-friendly, I mean, it is a fraction of the cost of what projectors are. Like, I can't get over how cheap it is. You can check it out if you want right now. The link is in the video description if you want to see. Because it's an affiliate link, I'm not allowed to like say prices because those are subject to change. It's Amazon. That's how that works. But you can click on it and see. There are sometimes coupons available, which brings down the price even more. I just can't get over how decent this projector is. It's not as good as my $700 one, but it's not $700. Like, it is so much cheaper. So anyway, check out that link if you're, after the live stream, if you are in need of a digital projector. But if you guys want, I can do a demonstration of that one. And one of the cool things with that one, it does screen share. So I can just, like, I could take a photo of my dogs right now and use that to project onto my canvas if I want. There's a lot. Flying Me to the Moon does want the projector. Let's see, Jen says yes. Might I ask for a projector? Might ask for a projector for Christmas. Yeah, I will definitely. Ooh, Prime Day, October 8th through 9th. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to go even less. I need to make a Prime Day suggestion thing. Maybe it'd be kind of fun to do a live Prime, like all my favorite things. There are so many things I love that have nothing to do with art I would love to tell you guys about. but plus things for art. So that might be kind of a fun thing. Anyway, yes, okay, lots of requests for the projector demo. So we'll do that at the end of this project. I'll show you how that projector is really cool. So anyway, and we can all think Elaine, she is the one who found it and showed it to me. And it was like, I bought it that night. I have no money. And it was, that's the thing. It's so budget friendly. Even me who's like, oh, I can't spend money. I bought that night. Well, I mean, I know it was for work related, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, it is budget friendly. Okay. So, Fly Me to the Moon said, I would love to see you do a Prime Day. I may. I'll definitely check that out because there are a lot of things. I turn into a walking advertisement for things I like. One thing that is not an affiliate link, I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's kind of dark. Look at how pretty my nails are. Wait, go that way. There's a little ghost on this nail. Those are stickers. Those are wraps, and it lasts for like a week. Nail polish does not last long on my nails, but let me get my stuff going. But these wraps, I'm obsessed with. I bought them for my mom for her birthday. Like, that's how much I love these, and they're $3. And they last on my nails at least a week. The toenail ones, I left them on for 3 weeks before they needed to be removed. And it's protecting my nails so much better than nail polish. Like, my nails look so healthy under. I need that to be an affiliate thing because I tell you, I'm going to be talking about these nail wraps forever. They have the cutest designs. It's another thing for, if you, any of you are interested in nails, I can show you, I can grab you some of the ones that I have, the designs, how that works. So anyway, it's not an affiliate. It's just cool things I like. Really, that should be the thing. Cool things I like should be my video we do. Okay, anyway, moving on, let's paint. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing on this one is the background. If you look at our reference photo, we've got this lighter green. Again, go download that reference photo. Link is in the description. We've got this cooler area here. Now this is important. If you look at the color swatches, download that too. But we can actually go back to this and look at those. Look at the color swatches on the side here. These are the ones that are going to be in the background of the painting. These are very cool colors compared to, or they're cooler, I should say, cooler than the ones there. These are the leaves. The leaves have more yellow in them. These have more blue. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're getting in this painting. It's going to help that background be pushed back by using cooler tones, more blues, more grays. And then the more yellow ones on this side, it's going to help pull that forward. And this is really going to create a lot of depth in our work. Now, I don't care if mine is quite as modeled as what that background is. I just want some mixture of colors in there. And the colors that I'm going to be using are phthalo blue, white, gray green, and I'll probably use a little bit of aqua green and maybe a little bit of green. We'll see. Let's get started on this. Okay. We'll talk more. We've got some questions about the nail wraps. We'll talk more. I'll show you more. We'll come back to that at the end of the video. Oh, I do not have paper towels ready. 1 second. Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I find a product I like, I turn into a walking advertisement. I don't even have cats, but let me tell you about glitter crystals were amazing. I don't know if that's still a cool thing that people use. I was so obsessed with those things back, we're talking 25 years ago that I had a cat. But these crystals were, they didn't smell like cat litter. Like, it was just so nice. I loved them, and I would be in line at the grocery store, and someone would ask about it when they'd see me buying it, and it's like I turn into a full-on advertisement. I remember the cashier laughing at me. I'm like, no, they're just that good. That's just what I do when I like things. Okay, moving on. No one cares, Lisa. Well, a couple of you care. You're important. I'm going to say it's worthy of me rambling. Okay, so I just need to keep this wet. I'm going to be using my fine mist sprayer, if I can reach it, right here, and this is going to give me a very fine mist. This is not the same as using a regular spray bottle that you would use for like spraying plants. I don't know. I don't spray plants with spray bottle, but spraying whatever. This is a very fine mist, and this is not going to have the heavy water droplets that a normal spray bottle would have. So very important, fine mist sprayer, very inexpensive. Links in the video description. It's a current link. I'm going to start by adding a bunch of white. I'm going to actually get this wet. Let's throw some water on there so it flows nicely. We're going to throw some white on there. Now, I'm going to take this all the way over to the side, even though that's going to get covered with the other green. We've got some green. That's going to be, I don't need as much of this green. I'm going to throw that in there. Now, the point here is that it needs to stay wet so I have time to blend. Now, this is getting a bit fluorescent. It's not quite as bad as what it looks on the video, but I'll have to fix the exposure in a second. This I'm going to tone down with some gray-green in just a moment. And I thought I was going to use some of the phthalo blue. I don't know if I'm going to need to. The gray-green may end up being enough. Green, gray, gray, green, something like that. So we're going to start pulling. Yeah, I probably will add a little bit of blue. Again, I don't care if the shapes or anything like that is exactly like the reference photo. I just need to get some variation in tones here. Now, don't overblend this. I don't want to make one solid color, and it's almost getting to that point. Well, it looks like it on the video. I'm going to just get some of this color in, and we're going to go over it. I'm going to keep this wet. Okay, right now, a little too solid. So now is when I'm going to come through. I'm going to get some gray. I'm going to mix some blue in there. And I want to get just some different tones. Actually, that's a stupid place for me to put that next to the easel. There is no way I'm not going to knock that onto the floor and break it. I'm going to even pull a little bit of black to darken up some of this. See, I'm letting my brush strokes, see this, some of this is starting to dry a little bit. All I'm going to do is take my fine mist sprayer. I can keep this wet for hours if I need to. So if you are somebody who you're like, I don't paint fast enough, acrylics dry too fast for me, don't go spend a bunch of money on glazing medium or slow drying mediums. They gunk up the paint weird. You're going to get weird results. They don't work for my technique. Water is all you need, and that is what I'm doing here. Just adding water to keep it wet. So I mix some gray green in with my aqua there, so it wasn't quite so in your face. I don't need to really worry about this being blended. I just want color on it. And then let's get a bit more white before we blend this out. Oh, and I missed a couple of super chats. Let me get this going, and then I'll dry it, and then we'll be ready for, I'll get caught up. I think there was another too. I am failing at my job. Where's my phone? I bet Nick is messaging me about my missing. Oh, where is my phone? I'm going to have to find that in a moment. I thank you ahead of time. I'm just not going to say anything too loud because I don't want the puppies getting all excited until I can dry this, because if this starts to dry, it's not going to be cute. Getting a few blotches in here that'll be a bit darker. I'm adding a little bit of black, but I'm not adding straight black. I'm mixing it in with the other color that's already on the brush. Okay. And that should be good. I'm going to lightly mist this again. Don't go heavy. We don't want enough that it starts to run. I'm going to use a mop brush, which is really a powder brush for makeup. It's going to give me better results because it doesn't shed as bad as actual paint brushes. And I am barely letting the tip of the bristles touch the canvas. I do see, though, it looks like my brush shed a little bit, so I'm going to take a clean brush and just scoop that paint. This isn't the one that shed. It was one of the other brushes. Okay, let's rinse that. Yeah, I'll have to look at the rules for doing a Prime Day live thing, because I know a lot of people do them. I'm not sure, because if we did like a live where people could see the item, wouldn't they see the price? I don't know what the rules are on that. I'll have to find out how to do that, since the whole affiliate thing. But I know Amazon keeps sending me things on like promo stuff to promote it, to tell people about. I'm going to make mine a little bit more blotchy. So let's pull some more of the darks in. I don't think I need to go lighter. Just a few more blotches in there. Just adding black into the grays that I already have. Straight black would be a hot mess, so don't overdo it. Really light hand. If you get a bunch of paint on the tip of this brush, it's not going to work for you. So every so often I'll take it and just rub it on circles. See how not a lot of color is coming on there? This brush is okay. If you do this and a whole bunch of paint comes off, you are either pushing too hard or your paint is too thick or too wet. So sometimes if you just wait a few minutes, let it set a bit, that'll fix the problem for you. Pushing too hard. I think I'm going to pull a little bit more white. Again, now it makes it easier as I build up to start controlling getting that blotchy look. So I'm putting this in between where some of the black was. Don't overblend or we end up with one medium color instead of definite lights and darks. I want some lights and darks to show through. That works. That looks nice and out of focus. Okay, I'm gonna rinse the brush. We're gonna dry this, and then we're gonna get caught up on those super chats. And I'm gonna adjust the camera just a bit. It's pretty close to what mine looks like, but I think we can get even closer. Okay, and I want to show you too, for anyone who may be interested in bidding, I want to make sure the color is a little bit more accurate. This is a little bit more green than what it's showing on the other camera. And I'm going to try to fix the other camera so it is more accurate, but it's not quite dry enough. Let me fix that real quick. Actually, let's get caught up on where there's, I think there were 2 super chats. Yeah, we have from Kirsten said for the doggos. Let's see, would you, that camera's working right. You guys want a super chat? We got sweet potatoes tonight. If you need a treat, oh, that is frozen. No, it's not frozen. If you need treats that are super healthy, and let's see, sweet potatoes, I just chop them in a baggie. It's super healthy, and they definitely like them. There you go. Oops, sorry, Gibson, you dropped it. Carrots work too. Good boys. Was that very tasty? Okay, I'm gonna cheat. I usually make them lay down, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. We have another one from Oriole Beagle. She gave you a super chat too. Very tasty. But yeah, if you need treats for your dogs that are like super, super healthy, try sweet potatoes. They're also anti-inflammatory. So all around, just a good food for people and dogs. Okay, go lay down. Go boys, down. Only the 2. They're like, but you gave us 2 in a row. Cool, we have 3. Down. Cow, down. He's like, or I could just stop and stare at you, right? Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay. So let me fix, while this sets for just a moment anyway, I'm going to see if I can fix this camera. That's a little tacky. Here's one of the ways that you can tell if the paint is really dry all the way. This is tacky. When I push on it, it almost sticks. Like I can feel it sticking to my fingers. Like it's not going to come off, but it's not quite all the way dry. So I will definitely need to spend a little bit more time drying that, or we will run into some issues. Okay. Let's see. Oh, whoa. Automatic actually worked this time. That's a little bit darker than it really looks. Maybe. It's a little bit darker, but that's close. I think it's a little too saturated. And let's see if I can, whoop, too green. That's pretty close. Okay, I like it. We've got it pretty accurate now. Okay. So let me spend a little bit more time drying that, and then we're going to use, I'm going to use tracing and transfer paper to transfer the image onto this. really not quite dry enough. Let me clean the brush really quick, and then grab my transfer paper. Now the reason that I didn't pre-draw out the bird or the leaf, I don't want to paint around it. I don't want to have to be careful. You saw how sloppy I was able to be, brush strokes every which direction. I did not have to worry about messing up my drawing. So it's better if, when you're working in acrylics, I like to layer this way. Now if I was working in oils, then I would pre-draw everything out. But this way with acrylics, because of the dry time, we don't need to worry about that. It's just much easier to paint your whole background, not worry about painting around a subject. We're just going to slide this under. Make sure it's showing up. Not amazing. I may have to switch to a different piece. This one's pretty used up. It's not amazing. I'm probably going to switch. Yeah, you know what? I don't, the black, let me see if the black will show up better. Under these lights, I can really hardly see those lines. Oof. I don't know which one this is. Some of the brands work better than others. Oh, that one works fine. Okay. If I was doing like a yellow flower, I'm not going to want to use the black paper. But being that everything that I'm doing here is going to be dark, this is fine. Draw quickly over all of this. And the tracing and transfer paper method is great. The same with the projector. Whether you freehand stuff on your own or if you want to trace, you can use it for either. What it's going to do is get clean lines onto that paper. If I freehand this directly onto the canvas, I'm going to draw it too big, I'm going to draw it too small, too far to the left, too far to the right. Because I pre-drew this on this paper, I can slide this around, I can move it wherever I want. I can make sure I've got the size right. I'm not getting eraser marks all over the place. I'm not making a whole mess. Like I would be if I was freehanding on the actual artwork. So on the bird, I need to be a bit more precise, so I'll slow down a bit. Do I have a smaller stylus? I do, I just don't know if it's in here. Apparently not. Okay. Now the type of acrylic paint that you're using and how thick you put it on will also impact how well the tracing and transfer paper work. If you're using like the crap from Hobby Lobby, I hate their acrylic paint. Actually, I hate almost all of their store brand generic crap. Oh, I almost swore there and stopped myself. Good job. Crap was not the word I was going to call it. But if you're using that crap, it's very plasticky and this doesn't work well. Like you can kind of get it to work, but I don't like it well. I like, and even if you're using a good paint that is high gloss, I mean, Golden's is a nice paint, but it's higher gloss. The Liquitex Heavy Body, the Soft Body, if you put those on very thick, it's super glossy right out of the tube. And this just doesn't, this method doesn't work. It doesn't stick. Even if you're using a charcoal pencil, that doesn't stick real well. I love the Liquitex Basics because they're more matte, and so this technique works. And that is more important to me than having paint that starts out glossy. I can make mine glossy, which I do, by putting a high gloss finish over it when I'm done. It pulls all the colors so they look like they're wet again. It looks amazing, but I'm not limited in being able to use this technique like it would be if I used those other glossier paints. So it's a huge, huge reason on why I use the Liquitex Basics versus any other paints. Plus, Liquitex Basics, they're just a good paint. I do a lot of glazing for my technique, and Liquitex Basics are going to be more translucent, usually a little bit thinner. They just work better. The other thing that I really like about Liquitex, no, I'm not sponsored, but the other thing that I really like with the Liquitex Basics is that they dry slower. Liquitex Soft Body and Heavy Body both dry a lot faster, both on the palette and on the canvas, in a very unpleasant way. I don't enjoy working with them. I have them. It's not even an issue of that I'm trying to save money. I mean, that's an added bonus for sure, but they're, they work better for me. Okay, so it's a little bit washed out, so you can't see as well. I just want you to see what those, you can kind of see the lines. Actually, there, you can see them better at that angle. You can see a little bit the lines there. They're not super dark, but enough that I can see what I'm doing. I think a frog just jumped. Okay, so I'm going to start with the leaf in the background. Let's start by getting some of these darker areas in the background. So I'm going to be using black mixed with my Hooker's green. Going to map out where some of these are going to go. I do not care if this is exact. I need more water. I don't care if this is exact to my reference photo. Just as long as I am close. Let's see. And I've got affiliate links for Amazon for the supplies that I'm using. So if you're going to buy them anyway, those links help me out. You know what? Part of me, no, I already drew it out. I don't want to draw it out again. There's so many different ways that you can get to the same end. Part of me kind of wants to, I could do all of this dark and then put highlights over it, or I can do all light, do dark over it. We'll just kind of go the paint by number method and block in light and dark about where they're going to go. If you're getting it to where it looks really bumpy, if your lines aren't smooth, add more water to your paint. Again, I'm just using Hooker green, I can't talk, Hooker's green, Hookers, I don't know, it's inappropriate however you look at it, green mixed with some black. I'm going to do a lot of building up on the darks here. I have a feeling I'm going to run this over a little bit longer than usual. Probably got another 45 minutes or so to finish this is what I'm guessing. I've got a decent amount of water here. I can still see some of the texture from the colors that I had in the background. Again, I don't care if this is exact to the reference photo. That's just a general guideline. Now, when I get to the bird, I'll be a bit more precise. But for the leaves, close is definitely close enough. One in the background going a different direction, so I want to make sure I'm capturing that. And then this one's going to be a little bit different. That leaves a lot lighter, so I'm not going to do that just yet. Switch to less of the black. I'm going to let that dry for now. And all of this is going to need a lot more work, obviously. It's just kind of building up. So I'm going to come over here to this guy. Oh, I don't have yellow out yet. Let's get some more colors. I've got some light olive green. Now, one thing you do want to watch, as much as I love Liquitex Basics, and this is going to be true no matter what brand you're using, do make sure that it's light fast. It should have a light fast number for you somewhere on the packaging to tell you how light fast it is. This one is a number 1. So we're good. There are some that are not, though, that are, like this one is a 1, we're good. All of these should be 1s or 2s. 2's this one's a 1. Oh, crap. Genius. That was lovely, Lisa. All of them should be good that I own, but you can get fluorescent colors that are not light fast, even though they're Liquitex. So don't just assume because it's Liquitex or it's Liquitex Basics that it's all light fast. It's not. Most of them are, but when you get into those neon colors, those are not going to be light fast. So just something to be aware of. Red, we're going to throw some, so that color I just did, we have light olive green, I've got cadmium red deep hue, this one is cadmium yellow medium hue, and they're hues because they're not actually cadmiums. I've got some raw sienna, actually I don't need that till I get into the bird really, I'm probably going to hold off on putting that out. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm using a Teflon bristled filbert still. This is actually just a cheapy set I got. This Keep Smiling is the brand name. It's just a cheapy generic Teflon bristled filbert from Amazon. I don't know if this same brand is still alive. They continuously change brands for cheap. I'm picky about my paints. I'm picky about the canvas. I'm not picky about my brushes. Like you can get super cheap generic brushes that work pretty well. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that light olive green. I'm going to use some of that. I'll probably just use that as my base. Yeah, that'll work, and then I can put the green, darker greens over it. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of that lighter yellow in here. It's more green, but I can throw some highlights in where that'll be now. Not a lot of that'll poke through, but a few spots. Okay, now while this is still wet, I'm going to grab some hooker's green, something inappropriate, I don't know. And I'm an adult, really. I need a little bit of blue, we'll see. Yeah, we'll definitely need to darken some of that up. Let's grab, actually, before I do that, I'm going to rinse that so I don't have as much yellowy green in there. A little bit of black in with some of that green. And these are just shadows in the background, so I don't need them to be perfect. I'll do a lot of glazing over this, so many reasons I don't need this to be super perfect right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those now. I'll be answering those once the artwork is finished. Okay. I'm going to have to build that in a few layers. I'm going to let that set now. Normally, if I was painting on my own where time wasn't like an issue, I would probably just take the hairdryer, dry it, and keep working on that one leaf, which is normally what I would recommend. But for time's sake, just so I can let it set a bit on its own, we're going to come on over here. We've got some white on the stem or the center part. We need to get more green as we move down. And this is going to look very not good at first. That's normal. This is a layering process. I'm going to get a bit more white for this highlighted area. Right along this one, and I'm just holding the brush to the side so I get a thinner line. The harder you push, the thicker your line will be, but also the opposite is true. The less pressure you add, the thinner your line will be. So even though I'm using this kind of bigger tackle and bristle brush, I can get a thin line. But if that's not comfortable for you right now, if you're newer, go ahead and switch to a round brush for some of those thinner lines. I actually think I want to blend that a bit. So I'm going to rinse that brush, and with just a clean brush, I'm going to put just one brush stroke here to soften that edge between the white and the green highlight there. There, now that's just a much softer look. Okay. Those I don't think are dry enough, so I am going to go ahead and dry this at this stage. You guys are hearing a buzz. Let me see. Enough of you are hearing it. Let me know if this makes a difference. If that helps, or let me double check. Those are the only things I can think of because I had the thing was charging because it wasn't charging like I thought it was before the stream. But it's possible that could have made a difference. I'm not sure. Okay. It's not quite dry. This one is pretty good though, so I can go ahead and come over here. Now what I'm going to do is just go over most of this with dark, the darks that I did and the lights. Gone now on your end. Okay. Oh, well, because your laptop was great. So I'm mixing again my hooker green and some black. Too much black. Let's grab some more green. The buzz is gone. Fiddle said, yeah, it was probably because it was charging. So hopefully that is better now. Sorry about that. How bad was it? Actually, that probably works. Maybe a little bit more green. Oh, we have from D-Lynn Creative Arts a super chat. She said, hi, Lisa, here's a treat for the pups, and I'm curious, what do jumping spiders eat? I can actually answer that well. Actually, you know what? Hold on one second. Let me fill. Gibson raised his head. He's like, I heard there was going to be a thing. Let me just wash over this. This is thinned out with water, and then we'll do the, get the pups their treat, and answer your question while they get their treat. So this is thin. There's no white or gray mixed in with this. If there was, I would be getting a fuzzy or a foggy look, like misty, which is not what I want. So I want this to be fairly translucent so I can see the dark lines that I did on the last layer. And I want to make sure if I have any streaks, they're going in the right direction for these leaves. So you can see I've switched the direction. I'm okay with there being streaks as long as it's going the right direction. I don't need this to be some perfect even color. See how these are lighter than that? Great. I just got unintentional blending, shading, detail, all that fun stuff. Okay, we're going to let that dry. I need to find my phone, and I need to give the boys their treat. There's my phone. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm missing anything yet. Okay, and we have a super chat for the boys. You want a super chat? Oh my gosh, you're very nosy. I'm being shoved by a cow. Back up, show your cute faces. Your ears flip backwards. Thank you so much. And then the question from D-Lin Creative Arts was, what do jumping spiders eat? So it depends on which type. For mine, I've got regal jumping spiders. They're a bit larger, but while they're babies, they eat fruit flies. And as adults, I will move them onto mealworms. Some people feed crickets. I don't like crickets because I've had actually one. There's a fight to who wins that war, and the cricket won on one occasion. Plus, crickets are prone to carrying nematodes, a type of parasite, and I don't like to feed those if I can avoid it. So I do, when they're really, really little, they go with fruit flies until they're big enough to switch over. And they're flightless fruit flies, so I don't like fruit flies flying everywhere. But go lay down. Good boys. And then crickets are what most people go with. I do mealworms. So, plus it's really cute when they're holding their bug and eating. Yes, that's adorable. Cow, you are not listening. Lay down. That's a bad cow. And that is why he is called the bad cow. Okay. And let's go ahead and get onto the details now with the leaves. I've got a decent base layer so I can start making everything look more detailed. And Lily and Fox, these nail wrap people, they are emailing constant. Look at our new wraps. Look at, stop. Because it works on me. I'm very easily manipulated by nail wraps. Okay, and I'm going to go with a slightly smaller Tackle and Bristled brush or bristled filbert, and then one that's kind of frayed. That should work good. So I'm just going to work my way down and finish each leaf as I go. So this one is a little bit more with the black. So I'm going to darken up some of this and then smudge it out. I don't want it completely dark. I just want to get a little detail in there. And I'm letting some of that background green show. This one's going to have a line going down the center with a highlight. Oops, that brush needs to be a little bit damp. It didn't blend when I went to blend it, so that just means this brush needs a little bit more water. Now, if your previous layer is not dry enough, then the blending with the second brush will not, I'm sorry, let me redo that. If the previous layer isn't dry all the way and you do this technique, it will lift the previous layer's paint. So be careful not to go too crazy trying to paint too soon. Make sure it's all the way dry underneath. Now I'm going to let that with the dark set for a second. I'm going to switch over and do some lighter colors. So I'm going to start pulling some white. I've got my olive yellow, or my what was that, olive green or whatever. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it. This is going to be too light, but I can glaze over it to tone it down. Remember, the harder you push, the thicker that line is going to be. Then I can take a damp brush and just push it back if it's a little bit too thick. I need more water. If there's not enough water, it's not going to do a whole lot of anything. There's the center line of that leaf. And then we've got this outer edge. Again, if it's too yellow, I can always come back through and do a light glaze of a green to tone it down. So I'm not going to worry about the perfect color right now, although I really do like how that looks, but I may need to tone it down later. We'll find out. I have to add a little bit of white so that it's opaque enough to stand out or to show up. And I'm just going to take this brush, again it's slightly damp, and I'm just smoothing out that edge, just a few brush strokes so that it's nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going to switch back to my darks, and I'm just going to be working back and forth all the way down with some light and some dark. Actually, I can just use the same liner brush through this and go back and forth with that. I don't need to keep switching brushes. That'll probably make it easier on me. So we've got that one. It needs to be a little bit darker in the center. And I'm just going to smudge the outer edge of that. Pull that down. Try not to go too much over my highlight that I did a minute ago, which I just did. This has a bit too much water, so I need to dry that brush. It was erasing what I just did instead of blending it, and that lets me know I've got too much water. I'll have Come back through with the highlight again. I overdid it a little bit with the dark. Maybe I'll just go through with all the dark and then all the light. See, like this is not exact to the reference photo. I missed a leaf somewhere at shape, but that is what it's going to be. That's the nice thing when you do leaves. If you're doing a lot like this, I mean, go for close based on your reference photo, but it doesn't need to be exact. When I get to the bird, I need to be more exact. But with a leaf, close is close enough. Then I'm going to pull that shadow down again. And you don't have to work this fast. You can go way slower on yours. I'm just looking at where those shadows are and mapping those out. There's the center of that leaf. Right now this feels really, really dark. It'll look different when we come back through with the highlights. Smudge that a bit. That's a big leaf. I'm going to map that one out just so I make sure that stays in about the right location. And we'll turn this into one. It's kind of mixed up in there, so we'll just throw a leaf there. We've got a shadow right in the center where most of these leaves, so it looks like it's curved. We want that shadow right where it's connecting to that stem or center area. I don't think stem's the right word, I don't know. If your leaves are looking a little bit blotchy right now, good. That's actually going to look really good once we fill everything in. You want some variation there. You don't want them to be one solid color. That won't look realistic. See how they kind of come together at a point and then fan out. And then that center is a bit darker. I don't think mine actually has a leaf on the reference photo there, but there is a leaf, but it's in the background. I'm making one more there. Let's see, we've got a shadow that comes right under the foot. Those will actually need to be a bit lighter, so that is good with the black. Now I'm going to come through with the highlights. And let me dry that real quick. going to go back to that olive green, a little bit of yellow, and some white. And I'm going to come through on the ends and just lightly push that. Oop, there's too much water on that brush. Dry that off a bit. Need a little bit more water in that paint. And I'm never, almost ever, using water or paint straight from the tube. I've almost always got it thinned with at least a little bit of water. And then I'm just going to smooth out. So, and it's not so much I'm blending that line, I'm kind of pushing it back and it thins it out. A little bit too smoothed out, so I'm going to put a little bit more there. Oop, too much water. See how it kind of beat it up? That is way too much water. Let's load a little bit more paint over here in my mixture. Again, I'm mixing my olive green, the light olive green, cadmium yellow, medium hue, or deep hue, I think that one is. One of the two, and white. Oops. A little bit more white, a little bit more water. Pushing that back to that outer edge. Thank you, Art by Ambi. I will get to them in just a second. I want to get this in there before so it has a chance to dry. It has too much water. There we go. I don't have enough yellow. Actually, I need to remix this anyway. So we've got a super chat from Art by MB who said, wanting to show the puppies some love. Do you boys want a super chat? Oh, yes, they do. See, they're excited for, that's what's so cool with the sweet potatoes. They're as excited about these as the unhealthy ones. Okay, go lay down. Down, down, down. Cal, you have not been listening. Go lay down. Oh, there we go. Thank you again. Okay. Cal, down. Wait, what is with you not listening today? Yeah, someone's got a bit of an attitude over there, huh? Okay. I need a little bit more yellow. Yeah, that mixes better. Just softening the inner area. And when you remix it, like I had to make another batch, don't worry, it doesn't need to be the exact same colors. As long as you're using the same colors in the mix, it doesn't need to be a perfect match. That took me a weirdly long time to figure out. I was constantly, I mean, I'm good at color mixing because I was being super like over the top worried about colors being exact when I'd mix a new batch. It was so unnecessary. Like there was no real benefit to that. Some of these, the sun's poking through a bit more, and I'll definitely be glazing green over too, but I'm going to go with this because it's lighter now. Not in the exact same place as my reference photo, that's for sure, but I do want to get some highlights. Let's put a light one in here so it looks kind of like the sun's poking through. Maybe one right here. Those leaves look really nice. I am very happy with how those are coming out. Okay, So this guy is going to have to be lightened up a lot. I'm going to need to put a decent amount more white in with that one. We've got the line down the center here. And actually, I'm missing some of the line on the center of these. That's better. And I'm going to actually, I don't know, which brush do I want? Go back to the tackle and bristle brush. We need to pull some of these lights and make the light and the dark much more obvious. I want to make sure it's streaking the right direction. And then we can pull some greens. Thank you, flying me to the moon. And this is just water with some hooker's green. And I'll pull that over the yellow as well once that dries a bit more. And I'm going to glaze a little bit more with the hooker's green into some of these leaves. I like how dark they are, but I do want to get a little bit more green in some of them. This is super translucent, so you can still see all the shading and highlighting that I did underneath it. I'm just tinting the color. Lots of water. Not so much water that it's running. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay. I need to dry those so I can glaze it again. And then we're about ready to start the bird. You know, those leaves have a little bit of shine on them that I don't have. I may come back and add a little bit of transparent mixing white over some of those, but I'm going to wait until the bird's in because I kind of like how they look right now. I may change my mind once the bird's in there. Remember, with your reference photo, it's just a guideline. It doesn't need to be exact. So if you do something like this where I'm like, ooh, I kind of like the leaves better on mine than I do the reference photo, leave it. You do not have to copy it exactly. I'm just glazing over that leaf. A little bit more highlighting in a couple of spots. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone for now. We'll see if I want any adjustments later, but I think I like it. And we're going to start on the bird. Okay, I'm going to be using a liner brush, and I'm going to start with the black. I'm going to map out where the black is going to go before I do the orange. I'll have to go back and forth a couple of times. You'll see what I mean by the layering process here, because the orange areas have to be painted white first. So let's just make sure we get these mapped out so it's about where that is all going to go. Make sure you are constantly looking at your reference photo. It's so easy to glance at it once and think, okay, I've got this. And you are painting for an hour before you realize you completely went off the rails. Like, that is not at all what your reference photo told you. I'm going to use my liner brush for the edges, and then I'll come in and fill the darker areas in with a bigger brush. Now, I want to throw out there, if you do not paint as fast as me, you're a normal human. Do not feel like painting slow means you're not good at painting. I've always painted, I paint as fast as I talk. That is no indication of how skilled you are at all. There are amazing, amazing artists who are very, very slow. So don't ever let that discourage you if you're like, I've got to keep pausing the video to catch up. That's normal. I don't actually know anyone who I've never painted with anyone in person who was keeping up with me. I'm just looking at that reference photo, putting the black about where it's going to be. I'll come back and adjust highlights and such in a bit. But just like the leaves, where I just kind of want to map it out. Know about where they're going to go. See how I'm leaving the light green from the background showing through where the white is going to go on the leaves? I can actually leave some of that green showing through. One of the reasons I love, love, love painting on video or teaching painting lessons like this on video versus in person is everyone can pause it and catch up. So it doesn't matter that I paint abnormally fast. So one of the problems I had when I would do in-person classes where everyone was painting the same thing, everyone paints at a different speed. And again, it wasn't like the person who was slow was worse or better than the person who was fast. It was no indication of how skilled they were, but it was frustrating for students when they're like, okay, everyone's waiting for me to catch up, or the one person that painted super fast, her name was Lisa too. I had one that was really fast. She would be waiting for everyone else to catch up with her, and she's like, okay, I'm bored, can I go on to the next step? But I had to wait for everyone else. So yeah, these lessons, doing it on video is so much less stressful for everyone involved. I don't care if this is like the perfect shade of black. This, again, just so that I don't lose my lines. I know where everything is going to go. And I've blocked in like the major feathers, but not like the little ones. Okay, I think that's all the black. Then we've got the gray foot. You can go ahead and paint that now. I'm gonna use my gray green with a little bit of black there. Only because there's a little bit of black on the brush and I don't want to rinse it. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, now anywhere where, okay, we've got some bigger spots. Let's switch to that really quick. Oops, part of that's supposed to be white. Whatever, I'll dry it first. And let me go ahead and dry this. Now, if I were to paint orange over this gray-green color, which looks more teal in person than, or on the camera now, than it does in person. Maybe I can lighten this a little bit. That's a bit closer. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay. Now, if I were to paint the orange right over this, it's not going to be bright orange. So I have to paint it white first. And that's any time I've got orange, red, yellow, some translucent color that I really want to show up. You could mix white in with the color, but then I've got peach, not orange. I want orange, orange. So I'm going to paint them white. And that way, when I come through with the orange, it stands out really nicely. I'll use a liner brush for most of that. It's got some floof sticking out over here. This is a well-fed sky chicken. He is not skimped on the chipotle. I understand, buddy. Okay, let's go ahead and rinse that out. And I'm going to switch to a liner brush for the smaller areas. Actually, this is all going to be white. I don't need to, I can hold off on that. I guess I can do it now. Let's see, we've got some orange fluff that comes down here. Something like that. A little bit right there. And I want to make sure I cover that black line from the tracing and transfer paper. Okay. Oops, and then I've got right in between the wings down the back. And I may as well block in while I've got it out, the white here. There's a bit too much water on that. And I can, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit better for you guys. Let's get these off of here. There we go, so you can see him a bit better. At least once we get started with the detail. Okay, that is good. Let me go ahead and dry this, and then we'll paint the orange over it and then start doing the details. Okay, so when I mix orange, I am going to be doing a combination of my red and yellow. I don't, got green in there, I need to scoop that away first. I don't usually just use orange paint, the pre-made orange, unless I'm glazing, because the pre-made orange is not, it's not very opaque. It does not show up super well. So I'm going to take mostly yellow. I need to find a clean batch to stir this in. And a little bit of red. Red is going to overpower the yellow a lot. And we're going to mix those together. Trying not to get green in there or I will muddy that up. I want even more yellow. Okay. And I'm just going to fill that solid. I'm not worrying about shading yet. I need a slightly smaller brush. This round brush should work. There we go. I want to make sure I fill all that white. If it overlaps the black a little bit, that is fine. I don't want it to overlap my background though. I want to make sure any brush strokes I have are going about the right direction for the feathers. Okay, now I can start, let me dry that and we can start the details and the shading that make this look good. My goal is to have this done in the next, 19 minutes. So we've still got a half hour for questions and to show you the projector and all that fun stuff. I think I can do it. Okay. So I need a nice healthy liner brush. The one I had is kind of frayed. It'll work. So I'm going to start with a little bit of blue and the white. We're going to get the highlight on the eye. I'm going to round that off just a bit. And I use a little bit of blue just so it looks like a bit of the reflection of the sky in the background. I'll come back through with white too. That is way too much, but that's fine for a start. I'm going to use that too for, oh no, that doesn't actually show up enough. I lied. Let's go and fix the shape of the beak a bit. Okay, and the shape of the eye, I want to round that off a little bit more. I'm going to let that dry, and while that dries, I'm going to work on some of the highlighting and shading on the orange portion of the feathers. So if we look at that reference photo, we've got a highlight that comes around the back of the head here. Now I'm using just straight white. I will end up glazing over this to tone it down, but I don't want to, like if I'm sitting here trying to mix the perfect peach color, that's actually going to take more time than I need to, where I could just glaze. So just straight white for all these little highlights. Little poofy cheek here, and I can also use this if I want to pull some highlighting on the black that will be toned down too. Just looking at about where these little lines and rows are going in the feathers here. Look at that reference photo. That eye looks super weird right now. That will be fixed in just a moment. Okay, I'm going to get some more highlighting on the other orange feathers. And on the leg, let's do that real quick. We've got that highlight here and around this portion of that toe. And I'm doing little round, kind of half circles around that portion of the toe. Then we'll have the toenail and such there in a moment. We've got to lighten this up a lot. There'll be a lot of yellow orange in here, so we'll put a whole bunch of white right now. We'll do some shading in a moment there. Some highlights here on the end of that feather. It's a little bit lighter in here. See, I want to make sure I can see the texture of the feathers here and creating the look of those feathers. Okay, and I'm going to also go ahead and start putting some on the black. And the black I'll be glazing purples and blues, magentas and such. Actually, I'm going to switch to a tackle and bristle, or a rake brush, if I can find a small enough one. Do some of the feathers on the back. This one will work. So what a rake brush is, here's your normal tackle and bristle filbert, here's your rake brush. It's just a whole bunch of bristles that are kind of spread out. And so I can get a bunch of little lines all in one. Now this is going to look way too dark right now, or I mean too light. That's fine. I just want to start building up the hint of feathers. You can also use that to shade some of those. You won't see that much of what I'm doing right now once I come on top with the other colors. Okay, I'll do a little bit of shading on the tail, or highlights on the tail. Again, this is thinned down with a decent amount of water. Too bold. Okay, a little bit lighter on that upper shoulder. A little bit more here. And remember, this is going to get so much darker. So while it seems scary now, if you don't go light enough, it won't show up when we put the darks over it. Okay, I'm going to dry this. Probably a little bit more. Okay, we're going to start doing some of these darker tones. So I'm going to start pulling in some of my raw sienna and red oxide for the shadows. We don't want to jump to black to do shadows. That will usually give you a muddy color when we're dealing with oranges and such. So let me see. I'm going to do probably a little bit of deep violet as well. Probably should have switched so you could see what I'm doing in my palette. There we go. This paint, I know you're in there still. There we go. Now, back to the easel. So now we've got to get the shading back in here. And this is just going to be done with glazing. So I'm going to use a smaller tackle and bristle filbert. I'm going to grab some red iron oxide, a little bit of deep violet. And these are those darker colors. And then if I need to smudge it, same thing we did with the leaves, just kind of soften that out a bit. Some of this will come through with more yellows. We've got a shadow going right behind his little leg. And then we've got some shadows in here. And then I'll glaze yellow over a bunch more of that. Now I'm going to use a bit of deep violet and some phthalo blue. I'm going to use that combination so it gives me more of a purple color, and I'm going to glaze that over the black. Too much blue. I want more violet. I don't like how that looked. Try again. Looked better in my head. Deep violet alone it is. Much better. And I'll still pull more black into this. I'm not going to leave it that purple. Okay. We can even use some of the deep violet more in the shading here. I'm going to pull some of that on his beak as well. Okay. Now I'm going to start focusing a bit more on the black feathers and cleaning up the white areas. Actually, some of those white areas should have a little bit more with the deep violet too. Oops, too much paint. I'll put more white on top of those, but that way they're not just straight white. Did that? No, that didn't freeze. And let's grab, where did my round, there's my round brush. So now that black is not just solid black everywhere, where I've got these highlights, I can start coming back through and defining much darker areas that will stand out better. But I don't want to make all the black one solid black or it looks really flat. I'm creating the hint of texture with the feathers there, so I'm not just going to paint the dark solid either. Just little dabs in there. Need some more black. And this is Mars black. When you're shopping, there's Mars black and ivory black. The ivory black is more translucent. It has almost a brownish tone, like a warm tone to it. I like it for some glazing, but I don't use it that often. Mars black is my go-to. I wouldn't even consider ivory black a must-have color at all. See, I'm leaving some of that purpley tone showing through. It shows up better in person. I'll show you on the other camera. This is a bit more solid black everywhere than on camera than it is in person. Okay, let's get a bit of a shadow on the back of his leg. And he needs a toenail back here. And back up to the eye. I want to round that out a bit more. I poofed up his little chin a little bit too much there. I'm going to grab some of my background color and tone that down just a bit. I don't care if it's a little bit more poofy than what it was in the photo, because they do poof up their little chins there, but that's more than what I want for this angle. So I'm just going to tone that down some. Okay. A little bit more black. We're almost done with this. And a tiny dot. Let's make a little bit on top of the blue for the highlight there. Oops, that has too much black in it still. I need a smaller brush to blend that. I need another round brush over on my easel. You are going to have to work. Some tiny little details here. Okay, and then I wanted to finish up a little bit more with the white. Let that really stand out in a couple spots. And those I want to stay mostly soft. A little bit over here. Thicker white, a little bit too much water in that mixture. I'm going to smudge that out. That's a little bit. There we go. Few highlights. I'm going to pull a bit of yellow and then we'll be done. Okay, let me dry that. And I'll show you what it looks like in the other camera. I also need to sign this. Oops, I got a smudge here. Luckily it wasn't dry, so I can just remove that a bit. Okay. What did I want? Yellow. Let me rinse this real quick. Or not rinse, dry. And I'm just going to take, where's the Teflon bristled brush? There you are. I'm going to take a bit of yellow. Let's see if it's too bright by itself. It's probably good. Yeah, it's a little bit. Let's add a teeny tiny bit of raw sienna to that yellow. And I'm just going to go right over these feathers, soften that up. Oh, a couple spots I wanted to fix here with the black. Almost done. These feathers should come in this way a bit more. Right in there. Okay. And now he needs to be signed, and I'll show you in the other camera in just a moment. So for signing this, actually we can zoom that out. I'm going to sign in this bottom corner here. And I will just use the green, if there's any green left, mixed with a bit of black. I want to use a color that I've used already all over the painting, so it's not just so, look at me, actually. What I'm doing is checking the balance. I'm squinting at it and looking at, I'm going to sign on this side, and then I'll just use straight black or white, actually. Let's do white with a little bit of aqua. Make sure, don't sign all the way at the bottom or outer edge, because if the buyer decides to frame this, you don't want the frame to cut that off. Okay. A few little highlights just because why not? Okay, now he is done. Let me show you in this camera, so the color is usually a bit more accurate. There is the finished painting. Yeah, that can't, I'm really happy with this one. This is definitely one that may end up on my own wall if it doesn't sell tonight. So the link is in the video description if you want to bid on this guy. The starting bid is $75. If you want an original painting, that is about as cheap as you're going to get from me. Oh, I like him. I'm excited with that. Oop, I got a bit of paint again where it doesn't go. Let me just remove that. Fixed. Okay, so we have, I think the questions have come in. Yes, so the first thing I want to do is show you guys the projector. I want to do a quick demonstration on how that works. It is really cool. I can probably just set it up. Let me see. Let me grab my, let's see. I need to do a full review and like tutorial on how to do this, but we'll set it up really quickly. I'm going to back that camera up some. And so this is the projector, and I'll show you first the two different ones. So this is my Artograph one. This is the one I paid $700 for. It definitely has a nicer feel to it. It's more like not as plastic-y looking. This one is kind of a cheap-looking plastic one. Its brand is Akio. I don't know. The link is in the description, but it's so inexpensive compared to like everything else. So, oh, here's. It comes with a tiny little tripod you could use if you wanted to set it on a table or something. I'm just going to use my full-size tripod. So let's set this up. And whoop, throw things on the floor because why not? My tripod is too tall. Not on there very well. There we go. And let's see if I can find where the plug-in stuff is on this one. Did I put it down here? No, you are mine. Where is the new one? I should have planned out better for this. I was going to set it up in the beginning and then decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And then I changed my mind again. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this if I can't figure out where I put my power plug, though. It's got to be in here somewhere. It could not have gone too far. Hold on one second. It shouldn't take me long to figure it out. I need to think of the stupidest location possible, and that's probably where I put it. That's usually how I do this. It's white, so at least it stands out well. I could have sworn I left it down here. That makes more sense. Oh, hold on. Let me climb down on the floor under where all my power supply stuff is. I've got the extension cord hooked up still. Just apparently not the thing. I wonder, no, I don't think my other power supply would work. Oh, I think this is it. Yep, found it. It is not white. That is why I was not finding it. Okay. Now, one of the things that I love with this one, I have to use a USB drive to get my stupidly expensive one to work. And even then, it's, what is that? Oh, it's a leaf. It doesn't always connect right. Whereas this one, I can, let's turn this off and go over here so you can kind of see what it's doing. Let's see if I can back this up enough to where you can see. So here is the projector. It's aimed at that piece of paper there. What I will do is connect it. I've got a remote down here. You know, it's funny, the remote control that my my big projector came with, the remote didn't even work. The $700 one did not work. They had to replace it for me. It was an ongoing problem with those. And I love my good projector. It's just crazy the difference in cost, and like the quality here is fine. So this has a thing, you can't really see. Yeah, on the side, two little knobs. One is your key frame, whatever thing, your key something or another. One is your focus. I might be too zoomed in. Yeah, there we go. So screen mirroring, let me connect to my phone. I always forget what it's called on Samsung. It's Quick Share, I think, or something like that. Share Smart Things, Quick Share. Yeah. Quick Share. And then did I choose the right connection? Yeah. iOS, nope. I need share with non-Galaxy devices. Am I hitting the right button? Hold on. It always takes me a minute to remember how I did this. I had to Google it. Is this not the right way? I think it was Quick Share. Auto switch, but others. Link to Windows, multi-control. Smart View, that's what it is. Is somebody yelling at me? Also, thank you, Patty. I will get you one more, or let me get this set up and then we'll take care of them. Okay, now it's searching. And I'll switch over so you can kind of see what's happening there. It's showing on the screen. Let me turn this off. It may flicker on. Okay, see the flickering? It's not doing that in person. Are you not connecting? Why are you not connecting the thing? Hold on. Can't read what you say. There we go. Select from the results. Are you sure this is not doing what Oh, because I'm on iOS connection. That's why. Android connection. There we go. That should work now. So this image is not nearly as clear as the big one that I have, but it's good enough. Like, you do not need more than what this one does. Come on. There we go. I've only done this twice, because I had to take photos, so technically I did it twice. Okay, there we are. And so I can have now it's showing my phone. So let's say I have a photo that I took, or I could download a photo. Let's say I want to draw Loki. Here's Loki. So all I need to do is, and again, it doesn't flicker in person, but look at how even with my strong lights on, you can clearly see this. I would have to back up a bit. Apparently that's too small, so it wouldn't be ideal for little things, but figure out where I want that to be, and then I can use the keyframing to straighten out. See how this rotates it? This little button on the side here, or little wheel, I can straighten that out. I mean, you're gonna straighten it to an extent just from, whoops, wrong camera, just from the easel itself, rotating that as needed. If you get closer, you're gonna get much smaller, but it doesn't wanna focus. Yeah, that gets more blurry that direction. Does it ever? I'm moving the little wheel. So that's as close as it'll focus, that small. Was there any option which is funny because I tried it small before and it actually worked okay. No, I tried 11 by 14, so maybe too small isn't super practical. Although no, you would be able to do that and shrink it down. You would just need to shrink the image itself. I think you could there would be a workaround for that. I haven't played around with all the settings. You know what? I wonder if on my phone, where's my phone? I set it down. Where did I set that? Lord, how did I just lose my phone? I need to show you, I want to show you the quick share thing on it and here we go. I might be able to, yeah, you can shrink it on the phone. So there's my face, me taking selfies with the thing. That's not weird at all. Any photos, we could do French fry. And if you can shrink it, whatever is on your phone is what it's showing. So that is how I would get a smaller image. So it's a little bit different. And that's not the only way to do this. You can do the USB drive. It's harder to get the right file type. Even if it's a JPEG, I sometimes have problems with it. Now this looks super blurry and it's flickering in a way that it is not doing in person. This is actually super clear in person. Like it's overexposing on that camera. It's really weird. But it does look how it should. Like, it is super clear in person. So I'm really impressed with that. But it's so cool to be able to just, I mean, whatever's on my phone, I can just scroll through those images and use that to project it right onto my canvas. How cute is that photo? There you go. You can kind of see there, but that is so, like, I'm just so excited about how inexpensive this is for how useful it's going to be for us. Come on, turn off. I don't need you anymore. Off. It just, it's been an ongoing problem. I haven't had something that I can suggest to you guys because I like mine, but it was $700. And the only alternative I know of that it's the same company, Artograph, is a $500 one. And the problem with that is apparently from what you guys have told me, they sold the company, or Artograph sold out, and it's not as good. There's apparently a lot of problems with the new one. So I don't want to spend over $500 for something that is not super amazing. This, it's not as good, but it is good enough that I don't see you needing more than that. So I'm pretty happy to suggest that. And I don't like to suggest anything unless I would use it myself. I would use that. So the screen mirroring, whatever, is so handy. It works for Apple Apple or iPhones. Mine mainly talked about Samsung, but it should work on other Android devices. So yeah. That is pretty cool. We'll go through your questions in just a second. I did want to show you, some of you guys wanted to know about the nail reps. Let me grab those. We'll do that at the very end because I know not everyone is interested in nails, but I will grab them anyway. Okay, so let's do your questions first. Oh, that's why it's so dark in here. I turned my light off. But that projector works in a pretty well lit room too. Like you don't have to be in a completely dark room. My old projector from like 25 years ago, you'd set on top of the image and it would project that, and it only worked in pitch black. Like if there was any light, it didn't work, and then even then it didn't work great. But yeah, that thing is amazing. And you don't have to use it just like if you want to trace. You can have the line, like you can have drawn it out, take a photo of your drawing and then project the drawing so you get a clean drawing on the canvas or on the paper. Like it's so nice. Okay. Let me go to your questions. I got paint on my phone. Flighting Me to the Moon said, okay, he wants to see the wrap, so we'll get to that. Let's see. Mind Tunnel, could you do a tutorial on portrait painting with acrylic? Maybe. I don't like acrylics for portraits except for underpaintings. I like oils for portraits, so maybe. It's a good request. I should make that happen. Oils are just easier. Let's see. Jen, I'd also like an acrylic portrait tutorial on Patreon, so there's 2 of you guys. I guess that's going to have to happen. I went and took photos this week for a horse that we'll be doing an oil over acrylic painting soon, so that'll be fun. Fiddle Jewel said, can I share a proud moment on here? I had a portrait in a regional art show earlier this year, 70 accepted out of over 400 pieces. That is awesome. Congratulations. That is something to be really proud of. Oh, I got goosebumps. Patty said, question, I want to, oh, I forgot, hold on. I missed a super chat for the boys. What am I doing? We had from Patty, the dogs need more sweet potatoes, she said. Raw sweet potatoes is a favorite of my shepherd. Oh, they're already jumping over. I didn't even have to, like, they heard the bag. They're like, no, you are giving us that right now. You know what? You get 2 because I took too long. Here. Oh, and again, if you want to bid, you've still got a few minutes left. If you want to bid on the Oriole painting, you can't see the details in his face very well here. But that is $75 over my website is the starting bid. There's your last one. Thank you. Say thank you very much, Patty. Oh, don't drip drool on my tea. Okay, go lay down. 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 Wade, you're the baddest cow. He's like, I don't want to. I just want to stand here. Okay. And Patty had said, I want to frame a charcoal drawing behind glass. Do I use fixative, and which one, workable or final? So for me, for charcoal, I use Spectrafix, and only in a fine mist sprayer so that I don't get heavy droplets, and do a very light layer, dry it, very light layer, dry it. You don't want to go too heavy or it can darken things up. And that's the only fixative I'm comfortable with. Every other fixative I've used for charcoal made things super dark, and I had to go back and fix the whites because they disappeared. The Spectrafix has not been a problem for me. Once it's dry, it looks great. So that is what I would recommend. If you're going behind glass, technically you could get away with not spraying it, but over time that does start to fall off. Even with the fixative, it'll start to kind of fall off the paper, but there's that. Let's see. D-Link Creative Art said, well, that's a cute but gross fun fact I didn't know about spiders. Patty said, you sent a beautiful print of a white owl perch on a snow-capped roof with my auction item. Is that a tutorial on Patreon? A white owl perched on a snow-capped roof. I think it was on a branch. I think the only one I did was a branch, and that is an old video. I'm pretty sure that's on Patreon. It is an old one. Actually, I can double check. me.com/Patreon videos. And that would have been colored pencil and an old colored pencil. If it's on here. I mean, like, that was one of the first Patreon videos. It's that old, so camera's not as good. Yeah, it's on there. Snow Owl and colored pencil with OMS. So, yep, it is available over on Patreon. Let's see. I think that's the same one. Bean said, I was wondering if you could do a portrait with pan pastel and colored pencil soon. I love your teaching methods. I'm trying to learn how to do them. Yeah, that could be another. So we need a couple of portraits, apparently. Yes. I do like that idea. That's a medium I like for portraits, much more so than acrylics. But I'm going to make the acrylic one happen for you guys. It's not that it's not possible. I mean, they look great. It's just more work. Like, it's so much easier to go over with oils because I'm lazy. Deborah said, when painting yellow leaves on a blue background, how to keep them from looking green? I tried adding white. I have primary yellow, or is there an opaque yellow I could use? And how's the red panda coming along? The red panda was posted late last night, so that is available for you now. You can head over to Patreon, go ahead and download, or, watch that. For the white, okay, so yellow, same thing as what happened with the Oriole. If I just painted orange over that background, it's going to get it's not going to be the true color. Paint it white, and then you can paint yellow over it. That white first, and then the yellow or whatever color. There are colors of yellow that are opaque, but your best bet is just paint it white, dry it, and then paint the yellow over. Or you can even mix white in with the yellow, paint a layer of that, dry it, and then paint more yellow on top to take it from being the pastel yellow to the more vivid yellow. Either way works. Art of Raven D said, so I can do an 8x10 sketch and then use the projector to enlarge it to a 16x20. Yep. Is that not amazing? Like, yes, you can. And it's so, you could do it for a mural. If you are painting a mural, like, I am not going to freehand a mural. I'm going to draw it on a sketch pad, and then I'm going to project that onto the wall. Yes, you can. It's amazing. Yeah, another request for acrylic portrait. I'm going to have to do that for the horde. Okay, now let's do the nail wraps really quick. So these are the nail wraps. It's Lily and Fox. Now there are different companies that do nail wraps, and the reviews I read were always like it didn't work. Some people loved them, a lot of people did not. Now I have natural nails. They're short, but they still, like nail polish chips, 2 to 3 days max, and that's if I use the best of the best nail polish I can find. Most nail polish the same day. Like if I used something cheap from the grocery store, like that stuff's orally whatever, it's gonna last me a day. So I do normally paint my nails every 2 to 3 days, so they always look nice. I hate chipped nail polish. So these, I gave a try. That was an ad I found on Facebook. Dang you, Facebook ads. They were $3, free shipping. I'm like, $3, I'm going to give it a try, because that would save me a lot of time. They come in these little sticker things. Here's one that's used, so it's out of the thing. There are these little, you can see the ones I've already cut that I used. How cute are these? Oh, it's out of focus. Let me pull over here. You can usually see better on this one. They're little cows, cow print nails. They were that was a cute one on, but they're these little stickers, and you just pull the sticker tab off and you find the nail that it fits and you stick it on. I do a base coat first, then the sticker, and then a top coat. So I'm using Orly rubberized bonder was recommended, but I used a few different base coats. They all were fine that I've used. And then SE top coat was the SE top coat, or I think Sally Hansen's Hardest Nails top coat. They had recommended those, so I gave those a try. They're lasting me at least a week. The ends start to chip or flake kind of a little bit. They'll wear. They're not chipping though. They just wear, and I can tell because I have weird skin. My skin itches all the time, so I find myself scratching, not even realize I'm doing it. So like there's no rash or anything. I just am itchy. I'm having a histamine reaction to a lot of different foods, as it turned out. So that's another thing I'm working on. But the tip of my nails are definitely starting to wear down from that. But You want to keep them dry as much as possible so you're not like soaking them in soapy water for 2 hours. They're going to start to lift up, but or not even lift up. It's just the ends wear for me. But they're go back over here. Oh, let me pull this camera back where it used to be. Oops, spilled my tea, pouring all over. They're really cute designs, and the fact that they're lasting an entire week and my nails are looking super healthy when I take them off. I'm just using acetone nail polish remover because it's what I normally use anyway, but these ones are the French manicure one, which is the only way I can get nice looking French manicures. This is sort of out of focus. There we go. It's a little ghost. But I'll show you some of the designs that I've gotten. You just go to lilyandfox.com. It's not an affiliate. This is just something that I found that I love lately. These are little ghosts. I've got tons of them for Halloween. I had that pattern on my toenails. This one looks like the toenail. No, that one's not toenail. That lasted, I had them on my toenails for 3 weeks. So more Halloween ones, just tons. Like they have so many adorable patterns. Lots of fall ones. There's a Christmas pattern, bees. You had to get the bees. More bees. So yeah, they have tons of different patterns that are absolutely adorable. You can, it's $3 to try. I mean, I figured $3, I wasn't out much if I didn't like it. I'm obsessed. Me and my friend Aline, she's the same. She is buying tons of them too. Like every day, my husband brought me the envelope that came today, and he's like, "You're getting these like why are you getting them every day?" Because they're free shipping, and it's $3, and I love them. So yeah, that is my lilyandfox.com. L-I-L-Y. I'm doing that right. Yeah, Lily, L-I-L-Y, and Andy, fox.com. But you don't want to put them, if you get them, you don't want to put them to where they're overlapping your skin or your cuticle. Make sure you'd be better off going a little too small than too big, because that's going to lift up. And yeah, they have been, I probably could push it longer than a week, but I get bored and I want to change them. So, and the ends do start to wear down. Like, I think these are going to look the crappiest because being black tips for the front, like the black is more obvious it's wearing off than a lighter color. So I can use black nail polish to touch it up if I need to. So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I had to tell you guys because you'll see, that's like, I haven't even been painting my nails. I painted my toenails last night and was kind of regretting I didn't have another nail set for my toes. I think I'm going to be using them for that too, because like normally when I take off my nail polish, it's kind of the nails will flake and I have to touch up a lot of stuff filing down the tops. I didn't this time. This was the first time in forever. My nails look perfect. Like it was, oh, I'm excited. Okay. How do I keep dog hair out of my paintings? I vacuum a lot and I have Roomba running, and my dogs have short hair. So it's a combination of all those things. But when I ship stuff, the static cling of the bags I use, I have taped dog hair into your guys' packages so many times. Like no matter how much I vacuum, how much I sweep, I find that. But I've never had a problem with it getting in the paintings. So Roomba is my best friend. And I do my normal full house cleaning every Friday, but I also run Roomba every single day because you guys shed a lot. Wade's the worst. Wade really sheds. So yeah. I'm a bit of a, like, I clean a lot. I like things clean. Fran said, what was the name of the, okay, I got that. My granddaughter will love those. Yeah, they're Lily and Fox. Ow, CPD hit her hand, or said yesterday I hit my hand with a hammer. Cool nails, cheers. Ow, I'm sorry. Nick said, anything new on Patreon that you'd like to share? Oh, that's a good question. So I just uploaded the Patreon, the Red Panda. He came out super cute, and I don't have it on this computer to show you guys. But that is in pan pastels and colored pencil. And that's a more stylized, it's not as realistic as normal, but there's still a lot of detail. So that one was definitely really a fun project, so definitely recommend checking that out. I also updated my whole website. So if you go to lacry.com, go under Patreon videos, like follow the links there, and I've updated the last 6 months worth of things. So like a couple times a year I go and update all of that. So it's a lot easier for you guys to find the specific lesson that you're looking for, and it's broken down by medium, and then within that you can just scroll through the photos to find what you're looking for. I'm going on, what is it, Friday, I'm going out to get more reference photo. We will get some more wildlife reference photos for you guys for the month of September. So those will be uploaded soon. I've got to get caught up on Patreon postcards. I'm definitely behind on those. Also, some of you guys on Patreon, I have not been to my P.O. box apparently in about 2 years. The post office called me. They're like, come get your crap. So the amount of returned postcards and returned cards, like the big ones, there's I'll contact the person. Oh, was it Teresa something? I think every single thing she's like 10 months worth have been returned to me. But a lot of people are having their stuff sent back to me. So make sure on Patreon your address is correct. I used to contact everyone individually, and I was spending hours every month doing that, and no one was responding for some reason. I don't think it was their fault. I think I was going to their spam folder. So, or Patreon wasn't sending them notifications, which would not surprise me because I don't always get your notifications for Patreon. But anyway, just make sure your addresses are current. If you're, I've got to contact, I think her name was Teresa. I don't know. I got like 10 things for her. I need to see if I can get to her. So make sure, double check those. Again, reference photos coming soon. I've got to update. We'll have another group challenge coming up. What else? Trying to think of updates. And if you haven't already signed up for Patreon, for as little as $6 a month, you get access to all over 400 of my art lessons. They are anywhere between usually 1 to 3 hours long, and they're, full lesson for you to follow along and paint with me. Or even if it's not a medium you want or a subject you want, you can still watch those videos and get an idea of how I'm layering, I'll explain why I do certain things. So it can be very helpful. I have a friend who was watching them, and she told me, she's like, I don't even work in the mediums you work in. She does pastels, but she was saying that she learned so much just from my, explaining why I do certain things certain ways. So that, there's that. You've got 3 minutes left if anyone wants to bid on the Oriole. Otherwise, I get to keep him, which is not the end of the world. Yeah, no bids. So if you're in the US and you like the Oriole, he's very tropical looking. So I really like how that leaf came out. Let's see. Anything else? I'm trying to think. Does the projector work with tablets? It should. It should, because you still should have the share feature, so you should be able to. I mean, I know for sure it works with the Samsung stuff. I don't see why it wouldn't work with my tablet either. Yeah, it definitely should. I'll have to double check, but I don't see why it wouldn't, because it's running on Android or Apple. I haven't tried it with Apple, but I mean, I'm assuming it should be as easy as the Android one would. I mean, it's just a quick share or whatever they call it. And I had to Google what is quick share called, because they listed it to use. No, wait, mine was quick share. They used something else. I don't know. I had to look up the name. Yay, I never even got the projector. I think you're going to love it. I was pretty happy with it. Let's see. Red Metal said, what is a good first pet bird to get? Honestly, budgies make really good pets, especially if you get one that's hand-fed. Don't go to Petco. First rule, do not go to Petco, PetSmart, get a bird from there. They are overpriced so badly, and from basically puppy mills for birds. Like, do not get a bird from there. You're going to pay 4 times as much as you would anywhere else. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying you can't get a good bird from there, but I hate the practice of them selling animals from those stores because they don't take proper care of them. They get them from the worst possible locations. They don't take. I used to run the bird department in one of the Petcos back in California, back when, God, late 90s. They've not gotten any better. You're not allowed to clean as often as those birds should be cleaned up after. You're not allowed to. Corporate doesn't want you wasting time. They insist on using flooring on the cages that is bad for the respiratory system and collects bacteria. So I was constantly having to medicate the birds, sick birds, to counter what corporate insists. They should not be allowed to sell birds. So find yourself a good local breeder. You can check whatever city you're in and whatever breed you're looking for, and just try to find a breeder that way. It's a better way to go. But I do like budgies, as I think that they're a good bird. Cockatiels. Now, cockatiels can be moody. Here's the thing to know about birds. You're going to get bit. If that bothers you, a bird's not, it's not a dog. So birds, they communicate by biting you, because I don't know why we have animals that attack us, but, chicken has moods, and he's going to let me know he is in a mood, and do not mess with him, because you're going to get nailed. So just be aware of that. But cockatiels are really, really good pets. They're noisy. If you're looking for quiet, no, that is not. Chicken actually had a day. Gosh, we couldn't get him to shut up. But I don't know what was with him today, but he was just in a mood all day. But, Yeah, that's actually Spandex putting, what is that name? Said any bird isn't a good starter pet. Research is incredibly important. Absolutely. But I mean, somebody who wants to get into birds, one of them has to be their first bird. So you're absolutely right, though. Do a lot of research. If you just want a bird that's in the house, I really like canaries, like that you're not handling. But the thing with canaries, most people keep them in these tiny little cages, and I think it's cruel. Mine is he has free flight almost all day long, every day in my office. And the office had to be, I have a video about it. I had to redo the office to make sure it was perfectly safe for him with plants because he was starting to eat the plants. But, they need to fly. They love to fly. Canaries don't want to play with toys. They want to fly. That is what he enjoys. That's what he's happy with. Well, that and he loves my parrotlet, which is a whole other weird thing. But so that's the thing. Like parrotlets. Parrotlets are the tiniest of the parrots. They're cute. I love them. That's what French fry is. Parrotlets? I call them anger floofs. French fry hasn't gotten old enough that he's hit that stage, but they will nail you. Like they are just 1 minute the most lovable animal in the world, and really this can be true of any birds, but parrotlets are notorious for this. The most lovable, and then they are just so angry at you, and they're going to let you know. They're tiny. They're only going to do so much damage, but that pinch can hurt. So you've got to be aware of that. They're definitely, I think, birds are a very much more advanced pet, and I think that they're one of the most neglected pets in the world, along with bearded dragons. But with birds, they're very intelligent. They need that attention, and most people get them, don't know how to handle them. The bird starts to get more and more mean, and the people just leave them in the cage all the time, cover them all the time because they're screaming. Well, sometimes they're screaming because they're chicken and they're in a mood today, but sometimes they're not getting enough attention. They're not getting enough mental stimulation. They are so intelligent, and to be kept in a tiny cage is horribly cruel. And then people get these tiny cages, and I'm like, that's a carrier. That's not what, it drives me crazy. And like, seriously, the amount of neglect. Most people should not own birds. But for those people who can really create the lifestyle that's good for a bird, like, I love them. They're my favorites. I love birds. But I also recognize they're not for everybody. They're very messy, so I'm doing a lot of cleaning. They're very noisy. Not all of them are super noisy. Parrotlets, not super noisy. Budgies, not super noisy. Sun conures, I call them scream chickens. My Indian ringnecks, well, really, they're my husband's Indian ringnecks. One of them's a scream chicken. One of them is, he's a talker. He's not as bad. But I mean, they're not a quiet pet, and they frustrate a lot of people. You have to know like what you are getting yourself into when you get a bird. But I think budgies are probably one of the better to start with. They can be super, super sweet. You can also look into people who are rehoming theirs. I mean, one of our ringnecks was somebody who was rehoming them. The wife had gone back to work, and so she wasn't home with the bird all the time, knew it wasn't fair for him. He also speaks some Hindi and some English, and I guess the dad, because they're from India, the dad was getting freaked out by Loki, that's his name. We didn't name him that, but it's a good name. He was going back and forth between English and Hindi, and I don't know what he was saying in Hindi, but he was freaking out the grandfather, and so they're like, yeah, we've got to find him a new home. So I guess the grandfather lived there, it sounded like. So that's why we got him, which he's been great for us, but you may be able to find one that's being rehomed because a lot of people get sick of them for how noisy and how messy, and like, I don't want this bird anymore. So that's also a possibility, but hopefully that's helpful. I love birds. Don't get a cockatoo, isn't that right? They are not for very many people. I love them, and they're not for very many people. Let's see. ZBD Survival said, my fish is 23 years old, iridescent cat shark. Wow, or catfish shark. I have clownfish, they can live that long. Our Bambi said, I'm drawing a dog right now and I'm stuck. Do you draw the lipstick when it's there or omit it? Omit it, 100% omit it. Yeah, there's no reason to include the lipstick in the painting. Like, I would never, ever, ever include. Actually, when I've done portraits, I took photos of my friend's dog, and that was one of their first requests, because they kept telling me, like, put your lipstick away, and he was just so relaxed, and I'm like, don't worry, I can Photoshop that out. So yes, absolutely omit that. Anyway, thank you so much, and Nick, thank you so much, and I will see you guys next week. Leave a comment once the video's over. You can come back and leave a comment in the thing. If there's something that you would like to see me paint, whether it be the subject matter or what medium you'd like to see next, let me know. Let me know for Patreon, because those are the longer ones. I can spend a lot more time on those, or quick little projects like this one. If you for these live streams. Anyway, I'm going to go play with my shoulder chicken now. French Fry is in there waiting for me. I've got an hour before he goes to bed. So I'm going to go do that, and I will see you guys next week. Whoops, that's not the right camera.